Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Today I have Conor from the amazing Scottish band Cloud House. You all here who listen to the show know my affinity with bands from Scotland. It is my favorite territory in the world of where music comes from. So I'm very happy to have Conor here, especially after I heard their latest album, Still Here. Thank you and welcome to the show, Conor.
Nice one, Shane. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. Like I said, Scotland has been where basically all of my favorite bands have come from. So it's always nice to constantly see new bands popping up, probably that have some of the same influences I've had in my life when it comes to music. So I'm very excited to start talking about your latest album, Still Here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Can't wait to chat about it. I'm really glad you like it. really chuffed.
Well, let's get back to the beginning of Cloud House. I'm doing everything that I did to find out. 2019, you and a couple friends got together, and Cloud House became a thing. When did it start to become more than just, hey, let's put together a couple songs?
I think obviously we started, as you say, 2019, and then we did a couple of gigs, and that first kind of when you start a band, it's like you never know how it's going to go, and it's always a bit new and a bit different. But after the first few gigs, we were just like, yeah, this is we're really enjoying this. This is really good. The feedback was great, right from the kind of the offset. And then obviously 2020 hit and COVID hit, so it put a wee bit of a pause on it. But as soon as that first year of that kind of calmed down, we were just like, let's make a good go of this, and we've never looked back since. We've just tried to keep going, and so yeah. But I would say from just about then, we've just tried to make a proper go of this. Definitely.
Well, I think too, listening to everything that you guys have out there, starting, back when you did to where you are now, I kind of feel that progression of maturity shows through not only in the songwriting but also in the tone of the songs. When you started out, do you think you ended up where you are now with a little bit different of that uncertainty of when you started to create songs to kind of feel where you're supposed to be as a band right now?
I think so, man. I think just like as you say, just kind of progressing and changing. I think as the years go on, even though 2019 only feels like, well, it doesn't feel that long ago, but as you say, a lot of things have changed since then, and there's definitely been a lot of progression. We've we've not been afraid on this recent album to write about big subjects and subjects that are, I guess, difficult for people to talk about. And I think that's something that we, as you rightly say, I don't think we really did that in the first few kind of songs, but now we're not afraid to do that, and I think we've got a kind of grasp on that and wanting to do that more. And I think once you write a song that people connect with, on a kind of say emotional level, on a personal level, it just gives you this impetus to want to do it again and wanting to write more songs like that and not be afraid to do songs like that. So yeah, there's been a big evolution, I think, of the songwriting and the maturity, and it definitely shows. And I think it shows not just in things like the lyrics, but I think even just the production of the music. We've grown a lot, we've changed a lot, and we're really trying to hone in on something that we're really proud of, and um, we can keep doing. And I think that's what we've done with Still Here. We've got something that we're like we all agreed on for the first time. Like we're all really happy with this, and we want to keep going this kind of direction. So
Well, what I have to call out too, which I think is really spectacular, because it takes a lot of talent to take the lyrical content of what you've created and dealing with certain issues you've dealt with in your life and bringing it to not making anybody feel sorry for what you're going through, but be happy for where you are. You kind of take some subject matter and put happy, you know, tones to it, to almost as a this sucked and now, I'm in a better place, still learning to deal with it. But it's just having a sad lyrical content to pop overtone it takes a lot of talent to do that and not, make that standard sad song about a sad subject.
oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I think that's something that you've hit it bang on. We've really tried to do that. I think we've tried to get this balance of, as you say, these kind of difficult subjects, these slightly sadder, maybe darker lyrics, but blend it with that upbeat, because we always want people to be singing the songs and having a good time. And a lot of the songs, and this is feedback we've had from folk coming to the gigs, and that sometimes on a first listen they maybe don't quite get how dark some of the songs can be, just because we've got that balance, as you say, of like the pop kind of aspect of it, and bringing that the uplifting melodies into it, coupled with the sad lyrics. So that's something that I'm really proud of, and I'm I think we've developed a bit of a knack for it. It seems to be something that we've done on the Still Here, and maybe a few songs just before that. But I think Still Here really reaches the kind of um, the the heights of that, and I'm really proud of that. And it's something that um, I think, especially we're writing just now, and we're looking ahead to the next kind of phase, I guess, of Cloudhouse, and it's something that's definitely stuck with us. The songs are still, we're not afraid to tackle these big issues, these darker subjects, but we're still doing it in that kind of Cloudhouse way. We always say that. We always say when we're writing together, we're always like, right, let's Cloudhouseify this song, and we just find that, as you say, that kind of the uplifting melodies, and we're certainly continuing down that path. But I'm really glad that you resonated with that, and it seems to be something folk really like, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where I when I'm listening to something, the first time I hear it, I look for what's going to get me, right, and then I start to dive deeper. So when I heard the album, I was like, wow, this is great. You can tap your foot to it, you can dance to it, and you can catch on with the hooks and sing along. And then I slow it down to myself, and then I go listen to it to a different way, go on a walk, put my earbuds in, and then listen to what it is you're actually saying. And then I go from, I'm no longer tapping my foot. Now I'm just walking and have tears in my eyes. And,
Wow.
and that takes a lot to manipulate someone's emotions graphically. Your songs are very graphic in nature. If you just sit down and listen to the lyrics, one of my favorite songs is the title track, Still Here. Listening to that, just always it breaks my heart into a million pieces. But by the time the song is over, it's all sewn back up, and I'm okay again.
Wow, man, that's amazing. Honestly, that's the stuff that, man, that's the stuff we kind of live for. Like with the band, that's amazing. That you've got that, and that it takes you on that journey, because that's the stuff. Like when I've grown up, and my favorite albums, when I've listened to it, it's that connection that you want to get, and it's that connection that I think makes music so special. Man, that's blew me away that you said that. Thank you, man.
Well, listen, you're well deserved of it, because you've given me something that I can hold on to, which is extremely important. And that's what music does. And there are other times in life when you find music like that. And you kind of realize things a little too late. For me, listening to Frightened Rabbit's final album and seeing the journey that I saw with Scott, and noticing after it was too late that the album was a scream for help from the mountaintop, but just like taking it for granted, and seeing where people are, and trying to figure it out, what the artist is going through, is always really hard. But when someone connects with you on a level, as the album Still Here did with me, it's one of those things where I at first I feel sorry for what you went through, and at the end I'm like, man, he came out on top. And that's the most important part about it, is you're still sitting there, you're up top. You're going to have some frowns, but the smiles are going to outweigh the frowns, and that's what's so important.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think, yeah, that certainly weaves through the whole album, through all the songs, and they're all connected through that subject. But you do, as you say, you get to those kind of happier moments, and you get to those uplifting moments in the album. And yeah, talking about Frightened Rabbit, I mean, we're all huge Frightened Rabbit fans in the band, and obviously we got our name from a Frightened Rabbit song. We got
I figured as much.
from Head Rolls Off, I Believe in a House in the Clouds, and I think it was Pat's the lead guitarist, and I'm sure he put it. And we were just going over names. We went through like a bunch of terrible, terrible names.
What was the worst one? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember every single one, Shane. My memory, man. So we had, actually, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, right? But we were called 10:08, right, for about 2 weeks, right? Because I'm pretty sure the reason why I'm always late for things, right? I'm always late. And we were meant to be meeting at 10 o'clock for something. And the guys were all sitting, and they were like, oh, I wonder what time Conor will arrive at. And they took guesses, and it was 10:08. And they were like, "Well, that's a cool name for a band." And we took it for like 2 weeks, and yeah, slowly, no, sorry, swiftly was rejected. I think we played one gig right with it, and we supported a band called Larkins, um, and we were like introducing ourselves, and people were like, "You're called what? How do you spell that? How do you find that?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're getting rid of this immediately." So after that, we were like, right, we need to brainstorm and find something pretty decent. And um, yeah, as I said, but I'm pretty sure Pat had mentioned it and mentioned that lyric. I'm just like Cloudhouse, and it just fitted immediately, and we all loved it. And that's it. Ever since, we've stuck with it, and we're not changing it now.
Okay, good. In your life, when did music become, something for you as a child? When did you start the first realizing that music was something special?
Yeah, I think I'd always listen to stuff growing up, and you get CDs, for birthdays or Christmas, things like that, and it was quite throwaway, I guess, for a long time. But there's one moment I always remember, proper life changing moment. Um, we had just got like Sky TV for the first time, so like kind of TiVo, and you got all the music channels and all that. And I was up the stairs in my room, and my mum shouted me down the stairs, and she was like, "Quick, quick, you need to come see this." And ran all the way downstairs, and it was the American Idiot music video was on TV. It was on MTV, um, and I just stood there like mesmerized. And if you know the video, with the green paint, and it's just a total chaotic music video, and I'd never heard music like that, just with the guitars. You know, it blew me away. And I'm pretty sure the album had been out already, for maybe like a month or something. And I begged my mum to take me to the local kind of supermarket to buy me the album. Um, and you know, not exaggerating, that album changed my life. That was the album that was like, my God, I took it everywhere with me. I'm pretty sure I took the lyric book on holiday. I wrote in the lyric book. Like, I just felt so connected to it, and I'd never ever felt that way with music. And I remember at the back of the album, it had like Green Day's old albums, like Buy This, and it was like Nimrod and Dookie. And I was like, oh my God, there's more of this. Uh, so I think I must have been, so when was that out? 2004, 2003, 2004. So I would have been like 9 or 10 years old. Um, and like I say, I bet my bar with that. And then I got Nimrod and I got Dookie. Um, and through that was when I discovered Blink 182. I discovered Good Charlotte. I discovered Weezer. All these bands. And as you can tell, I grew up on pop punk. That was my total thing, and that just opened my mind to music completely. And yeah, no exaggeration, it changed my life, and it made me want to sing all the time. It made me want to pick up the guitar, and that was how I picked up the guitar. Was just learning, those first power chords of like American Idiot and Brain Stew. That was like the easiest one you could ever learn. So yeah, that was the moment that I realised, music was something special, and it just went from there, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Green Day seems to be for a lot of people, the Green Day, the Blink 182 that you mentioned. It's been a common theme here, 185 episodes in or whatever we're at now, and I always go back to, they made it accessible because they were successful with playing three chords and making people enjoy it, right? It wasn't the normal, going back to real true punk rock of it just being distortion and no one knowing how to play instruments, but being able to master 3 to 4 chords. Green Day created something that gave young kids, and for me, you found American Idiot at that age. For me, I found Kerplunk at that age that you were at when you found American Idiot, and that was one of those albums that changed my life too. Realizing that, and wow, so anyone can do this.
That's amazing. Yeah,
And
that
you had your own moments with Green Day, right? I read something somewhere.
Yeah,
Full circle moment of Green Day in your life.
total full circle, man. And again, two kind of life changing moments. I I I sang with Green Day twice, um, which is absolutely, it's insane that it happened once. Never mind twice on the same song. So it's absolutely mental. So I went to see Green Day. I went to see Green Day in 2010 on the 21st Century Breakdown tour, and by that point I was all in. I was fully obsessed. I was like, so I'd been queuing from like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was aware that they brought people on stage to sing. When you're at that stage of like the kind of fandom, you're just like you're reading all the message boards, and you're watching all the videos of all the other gigs. So I knew that they brought folk up for Longview, and I knew they brought folk up for like East Jesus Nowhere, songs like that. Um, and that was it. I just went to the gig, and I believed it. And manifestation's always been a big part of my life and part of my mum's life, and she taught me that. And just kind of, what you put out, you get back. And I believed so much that I would sing with Green Day. I used to dream about it. I would dream about it, different cities, different songs. It was mad. It was probably a bit of obsession by this point. But I would dream about it all the time, and I was just like, I need to make this happen. And I'm there at the gig, and I'm queuing all my pals, and I was like, I'm going to do this today. And people must have thought I was absolutely mental. What's this wee guy talking about? Like, just like, I was just so focused on this goal. I was like, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. And going through the concert, and it got to Longview, and Billy Joe was like, who knows the lyrics to this song? And I was just like, I know the words. I don't know the words. I'm screaming like, I know these words. And I'm right in front of Mike Dunn, and Billy Joe just walks right over, and he's just like, you know the words, get your fucking ass on this stage. And the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life, I'm sure he was like a bodyguard or something, just like pulled me out of the crowd, like with so much ease, just lifted me up like one handed, and like threw me on the stage and was like, go. And bearing in mind, I'm 15 at this point, so like it was unbelievable. So I get up on the stage, I hug Billy Joe, and I'm watching the video back. I'm like trying to grab the mic off him because I'm like so excited. And he's like counting me in. He's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And when he counts me in, I just walk right down the runway, and like I go mental and just sing this song to like 12,000 people. Um, and I turn around after the first verse, expecting to hand the mic back, and Billy Joe's not there. He's what I didn't know at the time, but he'd actually went off stage quickly to go to the bathroom. So Mike Dunn and the rest of the band were just like, keep going. And I was like, what? This is unbelievable. I thought I was getting a couple of lines here. And I turned back round. And by that point, like I say, I'm realizing how mental an event this is. And it was like, I took a breath, and there was like no breath going in. So I kind of like got the crowd to sing kind of like the rest of that verse. And then I came back in the chorus, um, and sang the rest of the song. And by that point, Billy Joe came back on, and I ran up to Trey Cool and did this big jump off like his 6, 7 foot drum kind of stage thing he had. And Billy Joe took his tie off, gave me his tie, and was like, "Go do a stage dive, do a stage dive." And I ran and jumped, and I just sobbed for the rest of the gig. That was basically how it went. Um, but proper life changing moment. And at the time, it was such a big deal because, like I say, I was just this wee guy from Glasgow, from Scotland, and I was singing on stage with Green Day. And Green Day at that point were absolute. I mean, they're still massive, but they were huge. And it was in like my local newspaper. Like it was mad. And when I went to school the next day because I'd kind of I dogged school basically. I didn't go to school the day of the gig so I could go queue up early. And I went back in, and like nobody believed me. I was like, I sang Green Day last night, and they were like, "Aye, okay."
Yeah. Sure, Connor. Sure.
Like
Sure.
nobody believed me, which is mad. But until the kind of video, one of my pals had like taken a video, put it on YouTube, like a day later or something. Um, but yeah, man, that's proper life changing. And then it happened again. I went to see them 7 years later in Leeds. I drove down, just on a whim. I got the chance of a ticket last minute, and I went, and I was like, could this possibly happen again? I was like, could it? And I just kept believing it. I kept believing it. Maybe not as much as I did the first time, but I was like, it could happen. And it's crazy. Same thing. Gets to Longview. I'm standing in front of Mike Dunn, and Billy Joe walks up. In fact, by this point, Billy Joe's at the opposite end of the stage, and seeing the video back, he points at about 5 or 6 people, and he's like, do you know the words? Does she know the words? Does he know the words? And he's pointing at all these people, and he's like, no, no, no. And he says no to all of them. And he walks over to Mike, and he looks at me, and he looks at the guy next to me, and he points and he goes, this guy or that guy? And looks at Mike Dunn, and Mike Dunn went, no, not that guy, this guy, and kicked towards me. And again, that was it. This guy just grabs me out. And I was like, right, I'm going to stay calm this time. I'm going to try and breathe. I'm going to be okay. And I was like, you need to tell Billy Joe something, So I ran up and I was like, I just thanked him. And I was like, I love you. You're my hero. And he was like, here you go. Gave me the mic. And but by that point, 2017, so I was 22, and I enjoyed it so much more. It was like, yeah, this time it was like, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. Singing it again at 10,000 people. I sang it with Billy Joe. I was jumping about the stage. It was absolutely amazing. And honestly, from that moment, I was like, I don't want to do anything else in my life except do this, all the time. And like I say, that proper life defining moment, and made me want to be in a band. I'd played guitar myself, and I played acoustic stuff, but that was the start of me being like, right, you need to do this.
Wow. Now, let me go back to the first time you did it. Prior to that, had you ever sang in front of strangers prior to that first moment on stage with Green Day?
So I mean, I was like, so I was like 15, and I'd maybe done like, you get like a talent show at school or something, but I'm going way back, and I would go to like kind of in music classes, and we in school, and would maybe do the odd song, but it wasn't like, nothing to that caliber, and nothing to like, singing to a lot of people. I'd done maybe, like I say, maybe like a school show, something like that. But nothing like that on my own. So it was a proper, yeah, it was incredible, man. It gives you a bug. It gives you that feeling of like, this is infectious, and you can see why, folk want to do it. I understand it.
Yeah, now being 22 and saying this is what I want to do with the rest of my life after that second time, how did you start to progress within music, and how did you start to run out and try to find people to do what it is you wanted to do, the same things?
Yeah, so I just kind of, at that point, I'd known some, friends and stuff. I did a lot of busking back then as well. I used to just go and play in various different kind of towns and cities over Scotland, and I would, do my own kind of acoustic thing. But like I said, I wanted to be in a band, so I looked for folk, just like online, and folk I knew, trying to kind of start something, and nothing really kind of hit the ground. Running, I met, a couple of guys that I'd known, played some things, but it nothing really gelled, nothing really happened, until the following year. I reached out to Patrick, who obviously is now our lead guitarist. I reached out to him, and initially I thought, for some reason, so Pat and I had known each other through a mutual friend, and I thought he played bass, and I was like, I'm going to ask Pat if he'll come and play bass in a project. And I had nothing. I was just like, dude, do you want to come start something? Like, I really respected him. I really liked him a lot as a guy. We'd only kind of met briefly, and he was such a nice guy. I was like, this seems like the kind of person I'd want to be in a band with. And he, as I said, I asked him to play bass, and he said yes, even though he didn't play bass, because he just wanted to be in a band. And he was like, yep, I'll come and do that for you. And I'm pretty sure he got like a bass off his brother, which is so random. So I kind of met up with him, and we went through a few folk. Pat and I bonded really quickly, and we went through a few folk, trying to meet them and do something, and it never really worked until 2019 when we got Cloudhouse kind of off the ground. Obviously it wasn't until then that it really kicked off, but we spent all that time trying to kind of sort something, and you know, not really doing much, no gigging, trying to meet up and write the odd song, but it was very kind of fleeting, and very kind of, just when we could. So it didn't really kick off until Cloudhouse. So it was a long time between 2017 and 2019 to get that process right, but I wouldn't change it because, we're five best pals and it works, and it you know, it doesn't always work. There's just a dynamic with us that is so good, and I think it's pretty special.
Well, it is special, and you can hear it in the music from what everybody brings to a band, and searching for that band and the right people to be with. You're right. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does. Now, when you got to the process of Still Here, what you had been creating earlier was singles, EP here and there. Was there a quite a different process going into creating a full album to put out for everyone? Because I'm a full album guy. I find it hard sometimes when I start to hear a couple things from a band that I absolutely love, and then I go and it's like, well, I only got 5 songs. How do I keep up with what they're doing, and how do I have something that I can just put on when I go for a 45-minute walk and not want to listen to anything else but one band?
Uh-huh.
So was there a huge different process? Did you feel something different when you were going in to create Still Here?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, as you say, all the kind of singles before, and even the first EP, Days Change, that we did, it wasn't so, for us, it doesn't feel so much as an album. It feels just like a collection of songs that we happen to throw together. It was like, I've written this song, I've written this song. And we all brought things in, and we recorded with different producers, we recorded over different years. And then we were like, look, let's put this on an album, let's get a vinyl run, let's get something out. So this, for Still Here, felt completely opposite. It was like, I was working on songs and we are working on them together. And it was like, here is a collection of songs that are all connected. And they all kind of happened around the same time, and we worked on them differently. I think we worked so much harder as a unit on these songs, to make them what they are, rather than, here's a full song, let's go record it, and, we'll just kind of add parts to it. Excuse me. So it was so different. It was definitely much more of a kind of collaborative process. It was, as I say, we were so much more tightly knit, and I guess just not happening during COVID, which caused us so much issues. Like we when we recorded Days Changed, we went in at different times. We didn't go in and do it as a team. We were like going in one at a time, which is terrible for like a kind of music process. And looking back in hindsight, folks still, really resonate with songs and love those songs, who come to see us, but we weren't particularly happy with the end product because it didn't feel like a kind of unit process. It didn't feel as good as we wanted it to be. So, yeah, Still Here was just a total opposite. And when we recorded Still Here and Don't Want to Talk, in the January, and then we went in July, and we finished the other 5 tracks over a week. So it was just like every day we were in the studio from 9 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. We just lived and breathed it that whole week, and we'd lived and breathed it for that whole 6 month period. It was all we kind of focused on. We didn't do too many gigs because we were like, right, this is the focus, and if we get this right, we can launch it and do gigs around it rather than stressing about gigging before it. And it just worked. It worked so much better. And as you say, the product that speaks for itself is it's so much better than anything we've ever done, and we're really, really proud of it. And we want to just keep that going. We want to just keep going and keep getting better. I think we've set the bar now, and we just want to beat it now.
Yeah, you definitely set the bar. And one of the things that I'd like to know is if no one ever heard of Cloud House, what one of your songs that you have released, 1 or 2 songs, would you play for someone, so they could get a sense of what the band is? You can only pick 1 or 2 songs if someone's like, oh, I've never heard of you guys. And you're like, okay, here, listen to this song. And this is essentially you'll get the gist of who we are from this.
Interesting. I would play. I would play. Don't Want to Talk. That would be number one because I think Don't Want to Talk incorporates a lot of the things that we do live. I think it's probably one of our slightly heavier songs. Sorry, not heavier, slightly more fast paced songs. And I think that's something that we bring live, and it's something that people always comment on. We go and we want to have like a full on show, and we want to have people jumping up and down. So I would play that, and I think that encapsulates us pretty well on that front. And then in terms of subject matter, in terms of kind of lyrics and showing what we kind of talk about, I would also play Photographs, which is obviously the first track off of Still Here. I think Photographs is definitely the heaviest one we have, but I think it's lyrically it's probably the darkest I've ever been, but one of the most uplifting, because that chorus to me is like it's about someone who's a powerhouse of a woman. It's about someone who's a special person, and I think we really captured that in that chorus. So those are the two songs that I would show off for, as I say, the lyrics, and the kind of, how do I explain it? The energy. I would say the energy that we bring, because that's what you would see if you come to see us live. So those are the two songs I would definitely show off.
Yeah, and Photograph's a banger to start an album with, and taking that moment to hit that subject matter to directly in the face of someone who's coming into who Cloud House is one of those things where I sent the album to a friend and I was like, hey, check this out, get back to me, let me know what you think. And I get a comment back, and it was just fuck you with Photograph. And I was like, and that's a good thing, because I know it fucking annihilated the individual that I sent it to. And that's like the barometer of finding out what other people may think of something. And I was like, yeah, no, that they kick you in the dick when they start out, and and you're kind of trying to recover the rest of the way through the album.
Holy shit, man, that's amazing. I think that's exactly what we want from that track, because obviously most of these kind of songs that I end up writing, I start just in the acoustic guitar. And I remember when I first sent the idea for Photographs, it was so like, it was like not kind of, it was more spacey, it was more kind of airy, and there was nice kind of almost like a sing along vocal in it. And then the way it's turned out is it's like punchy, it's punky, it's right in your face, and like it's so funny how it's managed to go from that to that. And I think, as you say, like the way that people react to it, I think that kind of song that deserves that. And I think the way it's been produced, just kind of mirrors that whole subject matter and everything. So I think, yeah, that's an amazing response. It's insane.
Now, this might be different. Would you say Don't Want to Talk or Photograph are your favorite song you ever released, or do you have something else that's like, this is my favorite song that I've released? It may not be the best recorded, it may not, but it's your favorite.
No, I think Photographs is the best song. I think it's probably all five of us have all got different favourites. Photographs is definitely my favourite. I think just for the production, for the lyrics, I think it's the best lyrics I've ever written. So in that sense, I'm really proud of it from my kind of personal kind of standpoint on it. But I know the guys have got different views. I think I'm pretty sure Wasting Time, because it's so different as well. It's so much more chilled. It's a bit more spacey. A lot of the guys really love that, and we always have conversations in the chat. We're like, right, what's your number one Cloud House song right now? We're kind of like working it out, and I would say Wasting Time's up there for the guys, but for me, Photographs is definitely my favourite song.
Yeah, well, and an unsung song that you have out there that I would recommend to people that just pulls me in is Pretty Daydream. It's one of those songs that just it's a whimsical. It's a carpet ride on top of a unicorn over a rainbow. Like that's.
I love it. I'm so glad you like that song, because it's so like, we always talk about it. It's one of those songs, it almost disappeared a wee bit because we didn't release it as a single. We just kind of dropped it with the Days Changed EP. But I love that song, and I really want to re-record that. Like I have ideas to do it in a kind of slightly different way. I want to redo it, man, because it's one of those songs that I wish more people knew. Um, oh, I love that you love that song. That's one of my favorite songs. Honestly, I love it.
We're just lovers. We dance away the hours in a haze. Both our mothers say that they approve how long it's taken to say. We're just kids now. You're taking me right back to 17. I wasn't looking for anything at all until you came along. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till late again till we hear the birds. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till 3 again, hanging on your words. All our friends now laugh at what we say and what we do. We don't care less. Feel like we've known each other all these years. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till late again till we hear the birds. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till 3 again, hanging on your words. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till late again till we hear the birds. Darling, will you be my pretty daydream? Staying up till 3 again, hanging on your words. We're just lovers. We dance away the hours in a haze.
Wow. I knew it had to be something because it really is one of those things. It gives me a visual of something completely that makes me feel like, what the fuck's going on? Like it almost gives you like a drug feeling of trying to figure out what's going on with you while you're listening to a song, where you
Yeah.
like create videos, and it's like I heard it and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't. I was like, all right, I fucking love this song.
Oh yes, man, I love it. I love that you love this song. It's underrated in the Cloud House world. We need to bring it back, man.
You definitely need to bring it back. More people need to hear it, and hopefully by doing this they will, because it's a track that needs its own shelf. You know, hey, Here it is.
I'm going to dine off this for a while with the guys because it's one of those songs like when we're talking about set lists, it's like, nah, we're not going to play that tonight. And it's like, I am bringing this back.
Well, hopefully when they all hear this, they'll be like, son of a bitch.
Absolutely.
He didn't even talk him into it.
No, I'd be like, listen, skip to 20 minutes into this. You need to hear this section
Yeah.
specifically.
Now, with the band, does everybody pull from, like, because a lot of times there's a lot of bands that everybody's into the same type of music, but other bands that make something very unique and creative, everybody has their own little niche pocket of music that they listen to, pull influences from. Is that what Cloudhouse is, or are you all kind of have your own same influences?
As you say, I think that makes for something pretty interesting. I think we have the kind of common kind of collective of influences, but as you know, individuals, all five of us have like totally different tastes as well. You know, like Jack, our drummer, he grew up on like his dad's music collection, and he would listen to like Pink Floyd and Queen, and he would grow up in all those kind of bands. And then Callum, who's our bassist, I would say Callum has the most diverse musical like kind of knowledge I've ever seen. I mean, Callum knows everything about music. His Spotify like Wrapped is like unbelievable. You'll listen from everything to Green Day. You know, we'll have that common thing together of Green Day and Blink-182, and then you'll be listening to bands like King Gizzard or the Lizard. I don't even know how to pronounce their name, but it's like bands like this, and you'll go see, and then you'll be like, oh, I'm going to see this band tonight, man. And it's just like these bands that I've never heard of that are just such a varied kind of collection. And he also plays in another band called they've got the coolest name ever, Leaf Lady and the Wish Collective, right? So he plays in this band just like with his mates, and they do all this kind of strange, like almost like psychedelic stuff. So just like he plays, like he's an amazing musician, and he plays in all these crazy time signatures and like stuff that I never even contemplated. So having like that kind of musical knowledge is like unbelievable. Sometimes I'll be a bit annoying, so we're like, let's try this in 8/6 or something like ridiculous. And I'm like, please no, but I can't do it, please. Just making something pure complex. But no, he's amazing. And Morgan and Pat, like again, Morgan's probably got the coolest musical taste out of all of us. Morgan plays sax and keys. He listens to very cool music that I don't know too much about, and I'm pretty sure he's a big jazz fan as well. So I definitely, man, we have such a varied musical taste, but we do have the common ones like Green Day and the 1975 and Sam Fender. We do have those kind of common, Killers, things like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what makes the songs great, because when we bring it to the kind of band, the unit, it's like everyone's got different ideas. We're not just going in with like the same five kind of mindsets. So that's something that I'm pretty chuffed with as well.
No, so I kind of want to hang out with Colin and him, and I just hang out in my studio, and we can go through all the music and go over our own Spotify Wrapped, because I get the same thing. Like, wait, what? What's the name of the band? What the fuck is this? And I get that way too often. Like sometimes it's cool. At other times I'm like, fuck, how does nobody not know this? And that's kind of how this show started too. Like, when I would mention bands to people, be like, I don't know how do you find this stuff? And it's that passion. It's looking for something different, looking for something that I can say stands out, just like you guys, like Cloudhouse. I can say you stand out because I hear it. I notice it's different. It makes me feel different than just a normal song that comes up on a playlist or something on Spotify or anywhere you find your music. It makes me feel different. I'm like, that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I want to share with the world. And if it makes me feel that way, I know it's got to make someone else feel that way. So I hate when I'm like, hey, did you hear this band Cloudhouse? And like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about now. And I always get now, where did you find this?
Amazing.
And then I'm like, all right, let's sit down and listen to it. And sitting down, listening to it, they're like, oh shit, this is awesome. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's class. That's fucking class, man. I love it. Thank you very, very much.
Now, this could be different. I mean, we've gone over your Green Day stories and how influential and big they are to you, but a lot of times there's a different answer than someone who pines on about someone who changes their life. For me, I go to a category of bands that never let you down. Like, is there a band in your life that, for better or worse, and you look at it as, I don't know what I want to listen to right now, but you constantly find yourself going to this one artist or one band and always putting it on until you can figure out what you want to listen to?
Yeah, man, I guess. I mean, I would probably say Green Day, but I think, again, I would probably say, I'm trying to make this, I'm trying to think. I'd say Weezer. I'd say Weezer. I feel like I can always count on them to come out with something decent. And I think they're a band that I can listen to every album and just be like, yeah, happy with this. It's very Weezer. Like, I think I would say Weezer. I would say Green Day as well, but I think Weezer are definitely a band that I can always trust. I find myself going back to, even like Fall Out Boy. I would listen to them. I listen to them pretty much every single day. Just so easy to listen to. Yeah, I would say one of those three.
All right. How about, what do you listen to that someone would be really surprised to find out that you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to?
For someone who's obsessed with guitars and big band, just everything about a band, I love Taylor Swift. I won't lie to you. I really like Taylor Swift.
I'm not going to lie to you either. I understand it and I get it. And yes, I can say she's fantastic. And I put her, and that's the thing sometimes when people like say Taylor Swift, for me, out of all the pop stars in the world, she's a true artist. She writes her songs, she writes the music, like she does it all. And that, to me, that's the most spectacular thing than coming out of a hit factory.
Yeah, she is amazing. And I didn't really, I'll be honest, I never listened to her. You heard the hits, you always knew the ones that were on the radio kind of throughout the years. But when she released those albums during COVID, the Evermore and the Folklore albums, and it was, so kind of just stripped back to the guitars and the pianos, I was like, holy shit, man, she is unbelievable. She's an incredible songwriter. Her melodies are amazing. She's just such a great artist, as you say. I think she's a pop star. Yeah, she's massive, but she is an amazing artist. And I think it's really hard to get that kind of blend. Like, she's become so famous, but as you say, she's still writing her own songs. She's still doing all that stuff. And man, I'm going to see her this year. I'm really looking forward to it. And being a performer, like I've found out that our shows are like 3 hours long. She sings like 3 hours worth of songs. That is unbelievable. Like, that is, I can't believe she can do that, because I'm like singing for an hour and a half and I'm like, fucking hell, I need to stop. Like, I need to not talk for the next day. And she's doing it, every other night on tour, 3 hours. That is unbelievable. And nobody can deny that. It's not easy.
No, Bruce Springsteen does, 5 nights in a row for 4.5 hours. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's insane. Especially his age as well. It's like, he still can do that. It's unbelievable, man.
There's a different breed of stars, right? It's amazing to watch, and that's why when people are like, fuck Taylor Swift, I'm like, you gotta kind of appreciate them for when they're here, because there's not many. Like, people don't understand. There's not many real superstar artists. Like, when you think about it, there's not that many.
It's like movie stars, isn't it, as well? It's like, you get actors, but then you get like Tom Cruise. Do you know what I mean? You get like these mega movie stars. There isn't that many left, as you say. Like, and she's definitely one of those, man. And I for one cannot wait to see her this year. I am buzzing. I'm not buzzing for the tickets, but I am buzzing.
No one's, and that's the big thing. No one's happy about the price of stuff like that. That kind of stuff too. To me, just, I'm like, I don't care how big someone is. Like, I have a problem like my wife forced me at one point. I was a huge Foo Fighters fan, still am. Big fan of Dave Grohl, everything he's done, and I'd never seen the Foo Fighters perform. And they were coming to MSG, and I had already made the mistake once in my life where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to pay the money to go see this band, and it was $200, which, you know, for some people is a lot of money. For some, it's not crazy, but it was enough for me to just be like, I don't want to spend that kind of money to go to the show. My wife's like, fuck you, we're going. And thank God I went. It was spectacular. It was awesome. And then, of course, 6 months later, Taylor's no longer here. And then I'm just like, yeah, okay.
My God, man. Yeah, you just need to take a chance on those things sometimes, don't you? You just need to, like, as you say, maybe not once in a lifetime, but it's certainly how many times will you see them? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be that often. But I think, yeah, they've done that thing where, I don't know if it's the same where you are, but they've got that, oh my God, what's it called? It's like flexi pricing, or it's like pricing on demand or something like that they've got on like Ticketmaster. So like, they do this thing where, so say, I'm going to see the 1975 in 2 weeks, and I think it was 80 quid. So like $110 or something for like a ticket, which is amazing. You know, considering the price of things now. And then once the demand goes up, so when loads of people join the queue, it's like, yep, there's tickets left, but they're actually £250. And they just, even though it's the same ticket, because the demand's so high, they just put the price up, which is crazy. And people go on about it. People are like, oh, the artists don't know about it. But it's like, well, some of them do, because some of them mention it. I've seen folk like, you know, Zach Bryan. I've seen him, you know, go off about Ticketmaster and stuff like that, to stop kind of touts and stop folk getting it. Because once it goes beyond that point, it's like some people will do anything to go see their favourite artists, and like, you know, you won't think about the consequences of money, but that's crazy money. Especially when they don't need to be charging that. Do you know what I mean? They're still making millions of pounds at the base price.
Yeah.
It kind of annoys me.
There was a band, I won't mention their name, but they were an up and coming band, and they're still out there, still performing. They still get high ticket prices, but when they were coming out, and this came out in an article that kind of got squashed, but it just resonates and stands with me, because I remember seeing them in a small crowded room, and it was inexpensive. Then the next time I went to see him, it was in that same room, but I saw the ticket prices that it was going for, and it started to come out that all the shows they were doing, the ticket prices kept going up because their management team was purchasing all of the tickets.
Jeez.
So it was jacking the prices way up, and I was like, motherfucker. I'm like, if this band that a lot of people at the time really didn't know about is doing it, what is everybody else doing?
Fucking hell, yeah. When you've got the money to spend it, yeah, that's madness. That's madness. I'm pretty sure today in the UK, somebody, I was reading this morning, somebody's getting sentenced, 2 people to jail, for running like this illegal scheme where they would have loads of fake names and fake addresses, and they would buy the tickets. She was called like the Ticket Queen or something like that, and she would buy all the tickets and then have her own website where, you know, as you said, jacking up the prices to like crazy money. So she would buy like all the Ed Sheeran tickets, you know, not all of them, but like, you know, hundreds of them, and then make like extortionate profits off them, and they're getting jailed for it. But yeah, you can imagine how much of that goes on, man.
If and that's what I mean. If it happens to at that time, you know, and it's probably 9 years ago to a band that was just coming up, I was like, what's going on with bands that are already out there that have sort of a following? Like, I'm like, you know, that's what kind of, you know, pisses me off. And my wife's still like, you're just an old man who is just mad at the world, and you're like, I'm only going to shows that are $28 and less, which is a lot of the shows I go to. But I'm like, that's where I'm at, because most of the people that are playing those shows are there to perform and want to play their music.
And every ticket means a lot as well at that price. It's like, you count every ticket, you're like, my God, there's like, you know, X amount of people here. And it's not, I totally agree, man. Madness.
All right. Here's one. The world's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteor's going to crash into the earth, and you have to listen to one song. What song are you listening to?
One song to go out on, Bohemian
Yeah.
Rhapsody. I'll tell you that, man. It's probably about 5 minutes long. It would get me in a good mood. Yeah, I'll take Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. I'll do that. It has to be that, man. The most dramatic, operatic song you could ever get, like, to go out on. Has to be. Has to be.
You do, whenever anybody mentions the name of that song, it is funny because I get a smile on my face because that's the kind of song it is.
Yeah, it totally is, man. Totally, it's like totally, it's like for the end of the world, isn't it? It's just so dramatic. You just, you know something? I've not listened to that song for ages, and I'm going to need to get it on after this.
Now, for musical memories, for you taking away your two spectacular Green Day moments, is there a moment of a Cloud House performance that, for better or worse, just stands out in your mind that you can kind of hold on to? It's one of those moments I always say, like, I have a couple moments in my life that have this little pocket in the back of my brain and pop up when you least expect it. Whether it's good or bad, they still pop up. Do you have any moments like that with Cloud House?
Yeah, I would say definitely on a kind of good note. When we just released the single is still here, and we just released Don't Want to Talk. We played in a venue in Glasgow called King Tut's, and it's probably Glasgow's most, maybe one of Scotland's most iconic venues, and it's like
Yeah, I know it. Yep.
And we played it. We pretty much sold it out. I think we were like 2 tickets away, but we had folk in the guest list, so we were over it anyway. So we've come back to this basically sold out gig, and as I say, still here had been out for about, the single had been about 4 or 5 weeks at this point. So we were like unsure. We were like, right, what's the reaction going to be when we played with this? So we come on the stage and we open. We still hear place is absolutely bouncing, and it gets to the quiet bit when the kind of in the song when everyone cuts out and it's just me singing, you're still here, and the whole place sang it back, and it was like we all literally looked at each other like, oh my god, it was unbelievable, because we were expecting just this quiet moment, just a me kind of singing it, not knowing what the reaction was going to be like, and everybody was just like, "You're still here!" Like everyone screaming it, and it was just iconic for us. Like just such a good moment, and it's certainly one that always puts a smile on my face and something to remember, and it just makes you want more. It just makes you want to do that, and makes you want to build that connection with more people.
It's that drug.
Oh, totally, man! It totally is. It totally is. And I can't drink before a show because I'm so nervous anyway. Because that feeling of being on stage is enough. I'm not kidding. Like my hands were like vibrating with like the adrenaline, just like buzzing. When we walked on that stage. So I don't even need to have a drink before it. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, and I have said this quite a few times here, but for people that haven't heard it, one of the most famous musicians of all time, Trent Reznor, had come out and said in something that he goes, "I never did drugs when I went on stage, because that was the only drug I needed. The problem was when I got off stage, I kept searching for that feeling again, and that's what led me to drugs."
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, man. And I can see why you'd want to chase that, and I can see why you would want to feel like that all the time. And then I can also see why people drink to cope with it as well. Because sometimes people get thrust into these situations, and it's maybe more difficult for them in terms of different people's personalities and stuff. So you can see why you'd want to cope with that in certain ways. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, man.
So what's next? We're still riding off of Still Here, and hearing the album, it kind of, to me, it seemed open-ended, like I need more. So what's next? What's the next big thing that you're looking forward to with Cloud House?
So we're currently writing just now. So we've got maybe 4 or 5 tracks that we're working on. That for me, I've been there kind of through that still here process, but we've kind of had to park, just while we've been working on that and doing everything with that. So I would say they certainly they feel in a kind of similar vein to those songs. So the plan is we're going to get those recorded, and I think we're just going to release a bunch of singles. I think we would love to do an album. That would be amazing for us, but thinking purely financially, we can't afford it. Obviously, we're self-funded, and all the money we make from the gigs, we just put right back into the band. And um, we've just done a vinyl release. We've got a pre-order for Still Here, so that's kind of money we've made recently, and we put it into the vinyl. So the plan is to go record and just release a few singles and see where those take us. I think, as I say, we'd love to do an album, but just purely on a financial basis, I don't think it's going to be possible. So we'll definitely keep going. There is no other. I always say this to the guys: there's no other alternative for us. This is what we're doing. We're well into it now, and we're going to give this the best shot we can, man. Just want to keep going. I just want more folk to hear us and more folk to resonate with us, and just keep playing gigs. That's it, I guess. But we'll get these singles done. I think the plan is to have a single out, the next one for April, and then probably another a few months after. So yeah, that'll be the focus for the next while, and we'll try and let those tracks get as much traction as possible. And I've got high hopes for these, because I think the stuff that we're about to do is better than Still Here. I think it is. I think having learned what we've learned over this past kind of year doing that album, I think it only serves us, in a kind of good way to put it into a positive kind of outlook for these next songs. So I'm really excited for them, man. I'm really, really excited for these next songs. We're about to do demos for them, and I'm dying to get the demos down so I can listen to it and just be like, yeah, this is what I want from this song. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Well, now I'm excited. So thank you.
Yes, man. Well, I'm going to send you a wee sneak peek when we get some demos, man, because you've been far too kind today. So I'll definitely send you a wee idea of it.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Why don't you tell everybody else right now how it is they can find and keep up with what you're doing so they don't miss when the singles come out? Like, throw out all your handles so people can follow
Sure.
Cloudhouse.
For sure. So you guys can find us as Cloudhouse Band on pretty much everything: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, just Cloudhouse. Wherever you listen to music, you'll find us there. Yeah, and we've got a website as well, which is cloudhouse.band. And on there, we've got our vinyls, our previous releases, and a bunch of cool different merch, which we're updating fairly regularly. And we've got this limited run of a pink Still Here vinyl. We're only doing 100 copies of it. Only 100 copies will ever be made. So yeah, if anyone fancies getting themselves a vinyl, you can find that at cloudhouse.band. That would be amazing.
Go out and buy that stuff, people. That's the way bands stay in business.
Thank you, man.
Well, we're in our final segment of the show. It is our weekly threes. It's 3 things that you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3.
Okay. Right. I am listening to an artist right now called Lolo, which I discovered literally just on last week. So I was like, she's very pop punk, got an amazing voice. I've been kind of addicted to her the last few days. Who else am I listening to? I'm just going on my Spotify to tell you who I've been listening to last week. Oh yeah, so listen to a band called Vistas, who are from Scotland. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but they are doing amazing, and they just write the catchiest, most upbeat tunes ever. They're a great band. And for my final one, I'm listening to Luke Combs. I'm getting a bit of country, so that is my 3. I'm listening to Lolo, I'm listening to Vistas, and Luke Combs. Cannot be a bit of country.
Luke Combs, huh? What got the country bug?
Do you know what? in the car, sometimes I'm like, let's just put on. I rarely listen to the radio these days, and my wife and I put on Absolute Country, um, and we hear all these, random kind of country songs. And Luke Combs came on one day, and we were like, bloody hell, man, I like this guy. I think he's got an amazing voice. Couldn't get tickets to him when he was here, unfortunately, but I just really like him, man. And like, it's something like, for me, the stuff he sings about, it's like it's like a fantasy world. The stuff like he sings about to me, because it's so far removed. One of the songs that I'm obsessed with is Hannah Ford Road, and he's singing about meeting this girl and driving the truck down to her daddy's farm and all that. And it feels so far removed from what I grew up in, and I guess there's an element of that kind of like, it feels a wee bit like a fantasy world for us listening to that. So it's me and my wife both love Luke Combs.
Nice. All right. My three. My first one is a band called Borrowed Sparks. The name of the album is Light a Little Light. Very rock Americana. Could be something country-ish tones for you to get into.
Nice.
The next is a band called The Midnight Echo. Name of the EP is Indefinite Hiatus. They are a Vancouver indie pop punk rock band. How about we go with that? Let's just keep labeling people here. And last but not least is an artist that goes by the name Death by Fireworks. The name of the album is Drive Safe, Stay Alive. Indie rock. There you go. That's my labeling.
Very nice. I will check those out tonight, man.
Awesome. Well, first thing I want to say is thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for creating the music that brought us together from Worlds Apart. It is always a pleasure to talk to the artist who made you feel something special. So thank you for doing that for me, and I'm sure I'm saying thank you for so many other people out there as well that have fallen in love with Cloud House throughout the years. But keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing matters. It matters to me. It matters to other people. And just keep rocking on, man. We look for big things from you in the future, and cannot thank you enough for what it is you do for the music community with the songs you create.
Oh, mate, thank you. That honestly, that means a lot to me, and I'm sure it will mean a lot to the guys as well. So it's very, very kind of you, and I absolutely love doing this, man. So let's do it again sometime.
We absolutely will, because we're going to have a lot more stuff to talk about when you guys blow up. So
amazing. Thank you.
Everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Cloud House, and have a great fucking time.
The train at night, way past my stop, and pray for morning. I was so scared of your darkness. Knew we didn't have long, but you gave no warning. 'Cause I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I know I said I didn't recognize your face, but I've been here before. I know I said I didn't recognize this place, but I've been here before. I used to hide away till night. Only way I could keep myself from falling. And for a while I'll be alright, but I knew that the tracks would soon be calling. 'Cause I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I know I said I didn't recognize your face, but I've been here before. I know I said I didn't recognize this place, but I've been here before. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk. I don't wanna talk, I don't wanna talk, I know I said I didn't recognize your face, but I've been here before. I know I said I didn't recognize this place, but I've been here before. I've been here before. I've been here before. I've been here before. I've been here before.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.